Hey everyone, it's me, Joe Saiyan. Today we're going to be doing a build video for Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra, but before we begin I need to point out a couple things. So if you don't want to listen to this intro, please hit the timestamps in the description or comments below to skip ahead. Now, I currently, at the time of recording, am a part of the Squadra Creators Program, copyright of Bird Studio, SHUEISHA, TOEI, Animation, and Bandai Namco Entertainment Incorporated. Now, with that being said, Squadra is a free-to-play MOBA game designed to be played 4v4 competitively, and I am saying that I am by no means a pro. So, I'm not a pro, MOBAs are skill-based, future updates can invalidate the builds, and moving forward, build suggestions and card suggestions and skill suggestions are all only suggestions, and you should adjust as needed based on your skill level at playing this game. Thank you for watching, and let's just go ahead and get right into it. Alright everyone, it is Squadra time again, and today we are going to be going over the build and, well, just suggestions of how to play Frieza. First form Frieza, wheelchair Frieza, whatever people like to call him. He's a menace, but he's supposed to be. He's Frieza. So we're going to go shortly through the breakdown of him. We're going to go through his abilities, give a little bit of suggestions for where you should allocate your skills, and then we're going to go over the card suggestions. All right, first things first is going to be the breakdown of him and his abilities. Or should I say the breakdown of his abilities with his minions or his peons, whatever he calls them, his servants, Zarbon and Dodoria. So his passive is Fearsome Emperor. Basically, it allows him to increase his mobility, so he gets an increased movement speed up when he starts blasting around. And then he gets a little bit of a nullification that you'll notice there's like a little red hue around him. That red hue is going to tell you if you have a little bit of that nullification. Once you get hit even just one time, though, it will go away until for like a set period of time. His rush attack is a standard one. If you have your subordinates right next to you, they will also be following up with more damage as well. Skill 1 is Zarbon. Now, Zarbon you place Zarbon and Dodoria like turrets, essentially. And you just place them in an area, and they have a cone or a specific area of effect where they will attack. Now, they each have their own HP as well, so if Zarbon's HP reaches 0, he will be removed from the field, and your skill cooldown will be very dramatic, by the way. It'll be pretty long, like 10-15 seconds. So do keep that in mind. When you place Zarbon, you want to place him like a turret, but at the same time, if you know somebody's about to, well, kill him, you might want to retract him. Same thing goes with Dodoria. Now, Zarbon specifically fires an energy blast in front of him in a cone, and it applies strike defense down and movement speed down to enemies. And the range gradually increases as time passes, and then of course it all increases as you level up. Once you hit level 3, you're going to start doing very crazy energy waves of damage rather than just single blasts. Now, with Dodoria being your skill 2, he kind of headbutts the enemies out of there. He pushes them. Same thing with Zarbon. If his HP gets too low, he will be retracted and he'll have a longer cooldown. Now, he just lunges his body front and behind, so it doesn't matter which way he's facing. Essentially, in his entire cone, he can push people away as if anybody goes into it. And he'll just do more damage if they hit into a wall. So if you actually position him in a way that forces enemies into a wall, he'll actually do a significant amount of damage. Now, his skill 3 is Imperial Decree, which basically puts on a AoE kind of buff circle around him that increases the speed at which his servants Dodoria and Zarbon will actually fire and attack. And it also gives him and ally heroes a huge buff to movement speed. Now, Supernova, I personally don't like it too much, only because it seems very weak, but it's not really weak per se. It's more like you need to get it to max level to really see anything out of it, but It's just, of course, a giant supernova blast that does a good AoE. The blast does block flying energy attacks, so you can technically almost use this as a shield in some forms. And it'll also apply all attack down to enemies who are step into the blast range. They don't necessarily even need to be like really hit. They just need to touch it, essentially. And it also explodes and deals more damage at level 3. So let's just go ahead and go into training mode and take a look at what they look like from their level 1 to max level 3. All right, so for the sake of argument here, we're just going to go through the skills at each interval. So Zarbon here at level 1, you can see we have the cone right here. This size will increase over time. It does increase like that. He starts shooting anybody that is within the range, of course. Now, if you just level him up while he's still sitting on the field, nothing really happens. His ability does change a little bit, but we'll retract him right here. As you can see, that skill cooldown went from like 20 seconds to like 3 seconds. So place him again, and he starts doing a little bit of extra damage there because he's now at level 2. Pretty ginormous damage, actually. He does really good damage. So we're at a 20-second cooldown if he gets killed. If you just retract him right away, he goes all the way down from 20 seconds to about 3 seconds. And that's at full health, though. Now let's go ahead and put him at level 3. At level 3, his cone is still the same. There's no change to his cone. But he will start doing significant more beam-heavy damages right there. Pretty huge amounts of damage. Zarbon is actually going to be your bread and butter. He's going to be your best unit. Or turret in this case. We'll go to skill 2 with the Doria. So as you can see, he doesn't have as big of a circle. You want to use the Doria in a fashion of pushing enemies into walls and pushing them away from towers. That's kind of where you just want to be with that. So if we place him like, let's just say right about here, the Doria is going to be pushed right there, and he'll keep pushing him until he gets out of the range of it. So let's go ahead and level him up now. So when you level him up, it doesn't really change anything, so it's supposed to, though. So let's just retract him real quickly. Once again, the Doria actually has a longer cooldown, where he's actually got a 5-second cooldown and Zarbon only has like a 3. They're still very close to each other, though. As you can see now, the Doria has a much longer field right here. Not necessarily a wider range, but definitely a longer field that he can hit. As he's punching them right out of there. And wait for him to spawn back. And he can push him back the other way. So, go ahead and retract him. And now we'll put him at level 3 and see how different he looks. So at level 3, you can see the radius got a little bit wider, and he can definitely go a little bit further. At level 3, this is actually pretty intense right here. Let's go ahead and put him right here. Pushes him super far back in 1 hit. Usually, when he was going before, it was taking 2 hits to knock him completely out. That time, it still took him 2 hits, but it really just shoves him right out of the way. This can do a good, nice chunk of damage, too. Pretty decent. Now, we're going to go over his skill 3, the Imperial Decree, which increases your movement speed. So essentially, right now we already have kind of like a nice movement speed, as you can see. So let's go ahead and activate the normal one. Whee! We just have increase. You saw we had a short increase. There was an increase of 2. Unfortunately, he does have quite the long cooldown on his skill 3. And that's because of a few things. But let's just go ahead and show you why that's a thing. Whoa. Where'd Vegeta go? Oh, he's right here. Okay. So the main reason that, the main primary reason that people are going to be wanting to use skill 3 is primarily because of the Imperial Decree. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to place Zarbon right here. And I'm going to go ahead and place the Doria right here. We're just going to make like a little plus sign here, essentially. And wait for him to come back. If he ever comes back. See that huge increase of blast radius from him? That is an insane amount of increased. That was just from using Imperial Decree for that couple seconds right there. Watch this. Now, because it creates an AoE effect, it just constantly keeps firing. It has like a little bit of a lasting effect, which is why Zarbon was shooting super fast still even afterwards. And even while he's hitting him right now, you can see that it's still lowering his attack every time he hits him. It's stacking up there. And if you increase Zarbon's speed at that, it's going to skyrocket from a 7 all the way up to an 8 stack, 9 stack, 10 stack, 11 stack. Huge decrease in damage right there. Huge increase. Zarbon doesn't really lower any stats or anything. He just punches people. That's all the Doria does. He's very 2 character. So at level 2 with Imperial Degree, you actually have a much wider radius, and it is supposedly increasing the effect as well. So we're getting up to a 9, a 10, 11, a 12, and a 13 stack, and a 14 stack. We hit a 15 stack. I saw a 15 stack in there. So it definitely is increasing the AoE effect of that, and it's definitely increasing the actual overall effect of how good Zarbon and Dodoria can react. So let's put it up to level 3. This is the max level. Huge radius. You can almost like do this from a side and support this way too. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 stacks, still a pretty huge increase right there. Definitely worth it. Now, as far as like speed wise, it doesn't like super increase your speed, but this is a huge speed increase right here. Double speed increase. You can definitely utilize this to your advantage, and you can probably go snipe towers. You can snipe the Dragon Ball. Like Frieza is moving, man. Like he might be slow right here, but the second you activate Imperial Degree, you are just gone, man. You are gone and out of there. Now, if you keep in mind of this with, say, abilities like Strategic Escape, you can just literally, like, run away. Like, holy crap. Like, the speed increase is pretty crazy. But anyways. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Supernova. So Supernova isn't too crazy, in my personal opinion. You do charge up Supernova, so just do keep that in mind whenever you do decide to use it, that you do need to charge it up. If you just literally throw it, it's just like that itty bitty little tiny ball. And I mean, you have a pretty good cooldown on there. It's about a 50-second cooldown, I'd say. So he does throw out the super attack fairly quickly. It is fairly pretty quick. Let's charge it up and see how much it goes down to. 45-second cooldown, but that's because we have all these blue items equipped. Let's just go ahead and unequip all of these blue items, because remember, when you have blue cards equipped, it lowers your cooldown. So let's get a more accurate representation of that at a base level. All right, let's try this again. So about, 50-second cooldown naturally. It's pretty decent, pretty good. Let's just go ahead and take a look at it at a level 2. Now, level 2 is a much wider radius. This can definitely cover a tower, and it can definitely take on a mini-boss. I don't know how much damage it's really going to do to a mini-boss, but at level 2, it's definitely looking good. Like I said, not too much crazy damage in there. Hold on a sec. Let's take another look at that. Yeah, not too crazy damage. It's a decent damage, but it's not crazy. I think if you aim it specifically for its landing point, because it does have an actual landing point and where it will potentially, like, just hit. Nope, still not doing too much crazy damage. Let's look at level 3. So at level 3, you're actually supposed to be applying attack down, and it makes a bigger explosion towards the end of the attack. Let's go ahead and do it this way. So you went from having this huge rolling attack to something that does still roll, but it more ends like all over the place. Go ahead and throw it down. Little bit more damage right there. Little bit more damage, but you can see where the AoE circle is at. It's all in here, right here. That's where the whole area of effect was at. Pretty good, decent amount of damage right there. All right, so for the helpers, I don't think Shu is going to do too much for Frieza specifically. I think you're going to get more stonks out of specifically Bubbles and the Farmer. So the Farmer is also another turret character you can just throw out and kind of confuse and overwhelm the enemy with how many different placements of extra characters there are just kind of sitting around. Whereas with Bubbles, you'll actually just increase your movement speed even further than you already had it. So with Bubbles, you have the increased step efficiency mixed with the movement speed and your already insane level of movement speed with Frieza. You can essentially just run around the map like a madman. All right, we're just going to go ahead and move on to the skill suggestions now. So skill suggestions, I'm going to have just a couple choices here, but try to work with me. So, starting off at level 2, I would suggest going straight into Zarbon. Zarbon is your quickest cooldown, he is your primary DPS, and he's going to give the most kind of presence on other characters and enemies. At level 3, I would suggest the skill 3 to increase your own movement speed and to increase ally speed and increase the damage that Zarbon can do. You can get some kind of real early damage here with Zarbon on that. And then if you get to level 4 quickly before the actual end of your first encounter going, you can just pop Zarbon out and put on a little bit of extra pressure while you try to escape potentially with your skill 3 or just your natural speed boost mixed with a bubble. But once you hit level 5, normally people would rather go into like their super attack. Normally I would suggest the super attack, but the thing is with Frieza is that his level 1 super isn't that crazy. It's not doing much. It's fine to use it on a mini boss, of course, but honestly Zarbon's going to do more of that damage. He's going to do way more damage than what your supernova at level 1 is going to do in just one spot. And because it's so small, it's not really that intimidating even to the enemies. They can dodge it pretty easily. So at level 5, I do suggest just kind of pumping up Zarbon. Level 6, increase your skill 3 again so that you have a better effect of it and a faster speed boost. And a wider AoE so that you don't have to be right next to Zarbon for him to get the increase from it. Then at level 7, you can finally give it to your super, because you're going to want to get it leveled up when you can anyways, and still have it available for the mini-boss regardless. My point was on the level 5, that Zarbon is a little bit more important in this case. So at level 8, you're going to max him to level 3 first, and then max out the Imperial Decree. Because Imperial Decree is going to let you have your increased movement speed. It's going to increase your amount of damage moving forward. Dodoria is essentially just going to be on this as like a random throw-in onto next to a wall or next to a tower. That's kind of where he's just going to be. So at level 10, you finally give him a second node. Go down to a second level for your super at level 11 and max it out at 12, and then give Dodoria the last level at level 13. Now, this isn't something you have to do. A lot of people will just focus up Dodoria and Zarbon first and foremost, and even maybe skip the level 3 for Imperial Decree to really push into that. I would say the I would honestly say Imperial Decree at level 3 and Supernova at level 3 are your least concern, because the majority of the time that you're going to be activating the skills with Frieza is going to be with Zarbon, and kind of pushing with his Imperial Decree with Dodoria. Dodoria's range at max level is pretty huge, so if you want to increase him to max skill sooner than later, that wouldn't be the worst thing. Now, for the other skill one, as I said before, you can just kind of, instead of focusing up level 3 to your skill 3 and Supernova, you can go ahead and push that more towards the Doria's area. Regardless, Zarbon is going to get your major focus here. And you're still going to have Imperial Degree as you're leveling up, so having it at least is better than none at all. And at level 9, you'll have it at level 2, which will be a lot more handy. Level 10 with a level 2 Supernova actually is very good and usable. And at level 11, you're maxed out on Dodoria. And this is like late game, like end game status almost, or mid game, mid to late game. And you're really going to be able to use this pressure on towers or to defend positions as well. But that's all I have to say on the build suggestions of him. It's primarily just focusing up on your turret support and your speed, essentially. Now with card suggestions, I do have a couple different ones in here. The first one is going to be kind of like a Supernova damage kind of thing. With his increased speed with bubbles, you can definitely try to run away, and you can probably get away with a little bit of damage reduction here with the defensive step on level 3 here. Now, the only reason I don't like this one personally is because he's not meant to be a damage dealer, but you can force him to be a damage dealer with this. Whereas a more kind of neutral area where you can kind of take advantage of what Frieza can do, and he's not necessarily stealing the show as an attacker. You can use strategic escape so you can run around a lot faster. Giant Slayer to get a little bit more damage in there, put a little bit more pressure, and then limit breaking jump to get an extra dodge in there for people that are really putting the pressure on you. And for a last kind of build here, if you really wanted to go, Frieza is one of the few technicals you can probably, one of the few characters that's not an attacker, that you probably can go attacker on and be kind of fine. You can go Snowball, Giant Slayer, and Wicked Warrior. He's going to be auto-attacking quite a bit. Most of the time, you're not going to be double using skills, so I wouldn't suggest Pursuer, but you could probably make it work if you want to. But then there's also the kind of tower destruction kind of area right here. If you give him Gekishin High, you could probably go steal a tower. With his speed, he can make it across the map super easily. Other than Super Saiyan 3 Goku at the time of recording, I would say Frieza is one of the easiest units to get around the map with and just totally yoink a Dragon Ball or a tower. Give him Giant Slayer for a little bit of pressure, and then limit breaking jump as well for another blue card, which will lower your cooldowns even further, so you can definitely take those towers just a bit easier. Well, I think that's gonna be that's gonna be it for it. So please do go ahead and comment below what kind of skill and card suggested builds are you utilizing, and what would you suggest for others? Do these suggestions work for you? Are you focusing up on Zarbon with Imperial Degree, or are you just focusing up on both of Zarbon and Dodoria with a little bit of Decree in there, and just trying to be a menace with turrets? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you everybody for watching. Good luck with your matches, and I hope you have a good day and a good night.